In an era defined by stale and mundane racing games, we often look to the past to play those that truly stand out. What if I told you there is a game you might have ignored that is an all-time classic? A title often overlooked because of its successors that was forged when Codemasters were at their zenith. This is a video about the birth and peak of Grid. The golden era of racing games is long gone. However, nothing stops us from revisiting the glory days of our beloved genre. Grid is such a unique title that I can't help but revisit it every so often. It oozes the late 2000s charm like no other, with the abhorrent sewage system filter prevalent in titles of that generation. It takes popular elements from its contemporaries and mixes them perfectly in such a manner that the end product couldn't be anything but excellent. It is not a perfect game, however, it doesn't fall far off. This is no sim, albeit it isn't trying to be one. Cars accelerate faster than F1 machinery with seemingly unlimited mechanical grip. Grid tries to make track racing accessible and entertaining, and it sure as hell succeeds. Races are organized in short bursts of mayhem and pure racing thrill, as you claw your way through the pack in a few short minutes with the biggest grin you've ever had. It puts fun above all else, which ultimately pays off. You start off in a deranged Viper SRT-10, modified for racing, as you fly over the hills of beautiful San Francisco in what is the most thrilling showcase of a visceral sense of speed. It feels like driving a go-kart, only hurling down the tarmac at 220 kilometers per hour. Your heart is pounding as you remain on the edge of control and complete failure at all times. There are no words to describe just how fun this game can be. You have to experience it to believe it. There are only 13 track environments in Grid 1, nothing compared to its successors and contemporaries' seemingly gargantuan track lists. With only a few car choices per event, you'd think there isn't enough variation. However, every vehicle has been handcrafted to give you a unique experience, meaning you never feel like you're driving two of the same cars, at least according to the devs themselves. In reality, it's absolutely candid. With incredible car damage models which are still up to par with modern titles, this game aged like the finest vines. That statement only holds water if you download a mod that removes the exaggerated and blinding blue and yellow post-processing filters. The link to said mod will be in the description. I cannot emphasize enough just how crucial it is to get this game to look as good as it does. Granted, it will never look as good as GT5 or FM4, however, it still holds up incredibly well. Come the 7th gen, and Cody's decided to completely ditch the Toka branding and instead chose Race Driver Grid. They were well prepared for the start of the next console generation by creating Ego, the game engine used for Race Driver Grid. Ego is a modified version of the Neon engine that was used in Colin McRae Dirt and was developed by Codemasters and Sony using Sony's Fire Engine cross-platform graphics engine. The Ego engine was developed to render more detailed damage and physics, as well as render large-scale environments. Grid 1 released for the PC, PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360 on the 30th of May 2008, on the 5th of August 2008 for the Nintendo DS, and 10th of November 2010 in arcades. This game has a really good variety of race events. There are standard races, endurance races, toge, drift events, and time trials. Standard races have a field of 16 and see you start from the back of the pack. Endurance races are multi-class and consist of GT2, GT1, LMP2 and LMP1 cars. Toge events are two-leg events up and down the mountain with strictly no contact being allowed, as those incur penalties. Drift events are the same as in every other game. You prioritize long, fast drifts to build your combo up and earn more points. Time trials are indifferent to their execution in other titles. You get a certain number of laps to execute a time in. In this case, it is 3 laps. All events are split into 3 regions, that being America, Europe and Japan. This means you can progress purely by choosing what you enjoy the most. Each region has a special event type unique to it. America has Demo Derby, Europe has Endurance, and Japan has Drift and Toge events. These are all great fun, especially the Demo Derby events, which consist of pure unadulterated mayhem. Car sounds are really good for their age, especially when viewed in first-person camera view. The car list provides plenty of different vehicle classes. Tuners, muscles, exotics, crews fight for territory in the city, and it all gets settled in the canyon. Wait, wrong game. Grid has the typical touring cars, muscle cars, supercars, tuned JDMs, open wheelers, Le Mans prototypes, and demo derby cars, which ensure you never get bored of driving the same car in every race, further emphasized by the career structure. After the intro race with the Viper, you get the task of earning £40,000 to repair your bashed up Mustang. You do this by racing for other teams. After collecting enough money, you start your own team. Give it a name, stylize your car with the rudimentary vinyl presets, of which there are many to choose from. You pick your primary, secondary and accent color, the livery of your choice, and you're good to go. Liveries are custom made for every car to make sure they fit properly, which is great to see. After this, you are let loose in the world of Grid. You unlock sponsors by winning championships. These give you bonus money for completing certain objectives. For example, Evo gives you £900 for finishing the race itself. After earning enough reputation in one region, you get a certain license in that region. These are Rookie, B, and A licenses. After getting license B, you are able to run a second car with your teammate in it. You choose who that is, just make sure to hire someone who doesn't ask for too big of a cut, as that eats into your profits. In my experience, their performance ranges from superb to utter garbage. The best way to win championships as a team is to hope you start near the front with your teammate, overtake everyone and defend until your teammate passes you. Then just hold off the onslaught from behind and overtake into the last few corners. Thus you take a remotely easy 1-2. Keep in mind that if your team wins the championship, which usually equates to what you earn by winning the championship as a driver, so this technique is entirely viable. Cash isn't hard to come by, so you won't be needing this little tip. However, if you want to progress much faster, I suggest trying it out a few times. The career mode is split into seasons, and at the end of each one there are 24 hours of Le Mans. This is an endurance race that goes on for roughly 15 minutes and takes the multi-class racing aspect and bumps it up a notch. At the start you will be racing for customer teams, however, when you get enough money you can buy a GT2 or GT1 car and compete in their respective classes, for much more reputation and money. You race with your teammates, so try to give them the tow or to propel your team into the top few spots. Le Mans is amazing and I suggest you always enter it. It is arguably the most interesting event as it also features a sped up day to night cycle. Night racing in this game is great fun as it keeps you on your toes for the entirety of that segment, seeing as you have to rely purely on the light from your headlights to see. Cars grip the tarmac in an unrealistic manner, however it is incredibly fun to rip them around racetracks. They accelerate harder than an F1 car, which throws any sense of realism out the window. This is the quintessential Simcade title. It isn't trying to fool you into thinking this is real, however, in the end, you will wish it was. Cars have a certain feeling of weight to them that I greatly appreciate, and the fastest way around the corner isn't drifting, which is always refreshing in a non-sim racing title. The driving feels excellent. Grid is one of the best handling Simcade titles out there. I think the main and only real issue here is inconsistency in grip between classes. It sometimes feels like a GT1 has less grip than a road car. This takes a lot of time to get used to and is noticeable around Circuit de la Sarre, with the Porsche curves. On the topic of driving physics, here is an interesting fact about the brakes. There is no mechanical simulation attached to them. The game stops you by directing a powerful wind into your car and your car only. This stops it quickly and efficiently. Rather strange, this is something one of the devs said, so I can't verify this info. But if it is true, it is rather funny. The presentation is incredible. It encapsulates the on-track action in a phenomenal manner. I do wish they bumped the saturation up a notch to make it feel more alive, however I see their creative direction. Grid's soundtrack mainly consists of electronic music. It must be said that it ties the presentation up in a beautiful manner, and the score is rather excellent for what it's worth. The main menu theme is incredibly nostalgic. It elevates the experience to a different level. Shame it is copyrighted, so I can't play it here. The AI does an excellent job of making the gameplay experience diverse. No two races will be the same because your opponents actively battle each other, make mistakes, slipstream, spin out and crash. I love the fact that the AI makes mistakes. It fuels the high-octane gameplay to a sky-high level. Pace-wise, they are highly competitive with the player, however this is achieved with rubber banding. For some reason, Codeys continuously ignored the main aspect of Grid, owning a team. This feature is not present in any Grid title, which is a shame because it is great fun and I would have loved to see it expanded upon further. Owning a team is an incredible aspect of any game with that feature, and playing a game based around it itself is a blast. Also, what's up with the naming scheme? We have Race Driver Grid, then Grid 2, Grid Autosport, Grid once again, and now Grid Legends. Unfortunately, all of these fall flat in comparison to the original. This whole ordeal is rather puzzling. Grid is one of the all-time greats, a household name never to be forgotten. It rose out of the ashes of TOCA Race Driver and shone a light brighter than the sun itself. This was at a time when Codemasters were outputting nothing but hits, a period in which racing games all had their identity. Unfortunately, a period long past us. It will forever be remembered as the title that slingshot Codemasters into the main stage of racing games. An icon, forever.